just fail. A lot of people get analysis paralysis.
There's no such thing as a perfect video. Like, someone should always call you and it on your video because it could be better. When I was a young teenager, I was getting no views, had no money, had no equipment. Imagine spending 10 years of your life only thinking about one thing every waking hour of the day.
You could upload one great video a year and get more views than if you uploaded 100 mediocre videos.
I put together the best MrBeast advice on YouTube. I know it's helped me, so it has the potential to help others in their lives or careers. I also design merch and thumbnails. You can check out my store or email me about work. Thank you for your time.
Actually, as an answer to what is the best advice someone ever gave you, you said, you're crazy until you're successful, then you're a genius.
100%. All along the way, people gave me so much advice on why I shouldn't be doing it, why I'm crazy. Yeah. Every step of the way, people wanted to tell me why I shouldn't be doing this and should get a life, should stop being too obsessed, everything under the book. And then once I'm successful, those same people are like, dang, you're a genius. Yeah. Wow, you really pulled that off.
I just watch it, honestly, and I just like, if there's ever a moment where I'm even slightly bored, I'm like, cut it. And if there's something where I'm not just like, wow, you know, like the whole time, then it's like, don't upload it. It's not good.
If I'm not creating, then I don't feel fulfilled. I don't feel like I'm progressing. Then I feel like I'm wasting my time. My well of knowledge needs to constantly be expanding so I have more things to draw inspiration from our ideas. If not, you're gonna get the same ideas over and over again. So it happens for a lot of creators. That's why their videos are repetitive and always the same thing, because if you're not constantly learning new things, then your ideas are just limited to what's in your head, and eventually you're gonna drain it. It's a lot of testing. So we usually edit a video like, 5 or 7 times.
What would you say to creators that are getting started? I mean, do you think that it's still possible to start a channel on YouTube in 2020 and be successful, or is it...
It's funny you saying that to me because I know you know the answer to it. Yes, it's obviously, it is. And the thing is, though, with the videos I was making when I was a smaller creator, I genuinely felt like, the algorithm hates me or this is unfair. But I just wasn't making content that deserved to get views. I don't know a nice way to put it. So I'm glad I'm talking about myself, because anyone else I'd feel bad. But the videos sucked. Like, I mean, you just look at the retention graphs. People would click off at the beginning. People didn't know sometimes what they're clicking on. And like, if I wasn't retaining a viewer, just why would it make sense for you to promote it? Like, why would you promote a 10-minute video that people watch on average a minute and a half? It just doesn't make sense.
Well, if I don't have what I have in my head, then I would say just fail. Like, just a lot of people get analysis paralysis and they'll just sit there and they'll plan their first video for 3 months. And yeah, I'm any of you listening, if you, especially if you have 0 videos on your channel, your first video is not going to get views. Period. It's not. Your first 10 are not going to get views. I can very confidently say that. So stop sitting there and thinking for months and months on end, and just get to work and start uploading. Like, all you need to do, this applies to people who have not uploaded videos but have dreams of being a YouTuber, is make 100 videos and improve something every time. Do that. And then on your 101st video, we'll start talking, like, maybe you can get some views, but your first 100 are going to suck.
Almost every podcast I feel like you've been on, or every time you talk about YouTube, you always talk about how you reinvest everything back into the channel.
Literally everything.
And I think spending time with you here, what I noticed is that's actually not just money, it's time. Yeah. You also reinvest all of your time.
You gotta live and breathe it.
Yeah, you invest all of your time into it. And I think that's something that is beneficial of being where you are, is that you have that ability. And then also, the concept of hiring is just so that you have more time to invest.
Exactly.
I think I just had the blessing of finding what I loved at a young age. So like, because to get to this level, it takes, a decade. Most people don't find what they love till their young 20s. So they'd be where I'm at in their 30s. Yeah. I just lucked out and found it when I was really young.
I mean, people can make excuses all they want and say it's just luck, or say, it is a teachable skill. It's a learnable skill. You can study your way to consistently make viral videos, no matter how small your channel is, even if you have 0 subscribers.
Man, you're about to make me just start a college class here on this video. So essentially, yes, at the end of the day, if you boil it down, what YouTube wants is they want people to click on a video and they want to watch it. Like, at its core, that's what it is. Now, you can like draw little lines and go as deep as you want into how to get people to click and to how to get people to watch. I mean, essentially, by studying the algorithm, you'll learn that you're more studying human psychology, right? What do humans want to watch? What do they find enjoying? Not because anytime you say the word algorithm, just replace it with audience, and it works perfectly. Like, the algorithm didn't like that video. No, the audience didn't like that video. Because literally that's it. If people are clicking and watching, then it gets promoted more, and that's all. That's literally all the algorithm does, is reflect what the people want to a T. And if you deny that, you just make terrible videos and are trying to find a scapegoat. Like, I mean, there's a reason everyone loves YouTube and, spends hours every single day on it.
The biggest thing is, it's much easier, as weird as this sounds, it's much easier to get 5 million views on one video than 100,000 views on 50 videos. Does that make sense a little bit? Like a lot of people, like you could upload one great video a year and get more views than if you uploaded 100 mediocre videos. It's like, it's very exponential. Like
I just like to make the greatest YouTube videos possible. And that's literally all I want. So yeah, I mean, if it's not the greatest video, I just want to upload it. And so after you scrap a few videos, we kind of, everyone, you know, just kind of starts to figure it out. So I was telling him, the way I like to work is like, I like to go basically wake up, obsess over something, go to bed, wake up, obsess, go to bed, like every second of the day until I just have a mental breakdown, I burn out, and then I like take a day off or maybe a day and a half off. And I like to go right back to it. So I don't like work certain days. I just go as hard as I can, every ounce of my entire body until I just crash. And somehow that's sustainable.
What time do you sleep?
Right now, usually around 3 a.m.
Virality is not accidental. Or sometimes it can be, of course, but
It's just not.
it can be engineered.
It's so many people say it's luck, and they're like, "You're just lucky," or this or that. But what are we up to? Probably like 1,000 videos over 10 million views. Like we don't ever have a dud. Like you can call it luck, but I think it can be trained.
Is collaborative amplification. Like you're so good at that, right? Just bro, on your walks, you do your hour walk a night. You go, I'll just scroll through my contacts and call someone, see how they're doing, pick their brain a little bit. Like
Exactly.
so much to be learned.
Yep.
And you're so good at that.
And the thing is, like, that's what's sad is because so many like small YouTubers, they see it as like, oh, I don't like. I see this all the time. Like a guy with 1 million subscribers will learn something new and they'll be like, oh, I don't want to teach my friends. Like they'll compete with me. It's like, you dumbass motherfucker. You pulled less views in the last 3 years than like I know people have on a single video. Like you teaching him isn't going to do anything. And so like they're so like caught up in like not sharing things and being secretive.
But also a lot of creators also just don't, you know, which I didn't either for the longest time, just don't make good enough content, you know, content that's worthy of getting 10 million views.
In the idea or the execution of the idea?
Both. I mean, like think about how many people just make videos, they film them in under 20 minutes and they don't really put any effort into it. And my first 500 videos didn't deserve to get 1 million views. Like there's a reason they didn't. They're terrible, you know what I mean? But at the time I thought they did, right? And I'm in the mindset of a lot of small YouTubers where I thought those videos deserved 1 million views and I thought the algorithm hated me. But I watch them back now and I can tell you exactly why. The videos are just fucking horrible. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And like the thing people undervalue the most is literally the first 10 seconds of the video. Like I think I can quote it. I tied up an FBI agent and I have $100,000 in this bag. Here's a knife. Good luck. And I just run away. Like it gives you everything you need. No wasted words, short and concise, and then tension.
To do well on YouTube, you just need people to click your videos and watch them. That's literally all YouTube wants. And so if you get people to click your video 10% more and watch your video 10% longer than mine, you don't get 10% more views. You get like 4 times the views, right? So you have to think like an exponential, right? Like a 10% better video is 4 times the views, not 10% more views.
Right.
And so like once you understand that and you like funnel your energy better, it makes a big difference. So it's usually like just like don't make your video shit. Put in effort, you know, like put in way more effort, like really hyper obsess over these videos, like triple the amount of time you're putting into that video. Because you're not going to get triple the views, you're going to get 10x the views. And like,
how much time do you spend on those openings?
I'm a perfectionist. It's so important. Like that's your first impression for everyone clicking on the video. So like I like the whole time leading up to that, I'm just constantly obsessed with mostly the first minute, just like making sure like if I were to click on this video, I would like the first minute and that it would hook me. You know what I mean?
And when I first started, I got 100,000 subscribers with an iPhone. And this is an iPhone 5 that recorded in 30 FPS, terrible quality. So as you guys know, like equipment's never an excuse because like people were constantly roasting me for the quality when I first blew up. I was like, I don't have money. I don't know what to do. But then, you know, I just reinvested every dollar I made. And over like the last, 8 years, just slowly grew into whatever I do now.
Well, so what was the breakthrough for you to start realizing, to start having a self-awareness, about these videos aren't good enough? You're probably still going through that. You're probably still growing to see. Like,
every 6 months you should look back and hate your videos, or at least see things you could improve and be like, oh, I could have done this better, that better. If not, then you're not learning quick enough, in my opinion, at least.
But so when you're doing these videos and do you ever have one that you do it and it just doesn't live up to what your expectations were?
All the time. Now I know you're about to ask me, so let me think of some. Yeah, probably like back in the day, like 1 out of every 4 videos we filmed just never got uploaded because they were just not
Really?
good. Yeah, because especially when I was like 19 and 20, like I had no idea, right? You know, like I'd come up with an idea, let's climb a building with plungers, right?
Right.
And then, you know, you can't do it, all right? So
Right.
that's an example of one that failed.
So like, imagine one where you have like 3 friends, and like when friend number 1 learns something, he teaches the other 2, and friend number 3 fucks up on a video and he teaches you guys, and you're all coming up together.
Yep.
Whereas if you're separate, you have to fuck up every single time. You know, so like if you each make 100 fuck ups, you could be like 300 fuck ups deep and learning.
Yep.
But if you're separate, you're only 100 deep.
It's just like if you wake up and every day you obsess over something and you live and breathe it, and that's what you think about, that's what you do, that's what you study on and off, that's what you stay up every night grinding, and no one else even gives a flying about it. It's like you just feel like a weirdo, you know, like an outcast. And I was also like just dumb. Back then I didn't realize, oh, well, I just need to find different people. I thought like, oh, my whole life I'll just never enjoy talking to people.
Yeah.
And then I met other YouTubers, and then I started talking to them like 10 hours a day. And I was like, then that's when the channel really started taking off.
How often are you asking for help? Because I realize
Every
this,
day.
when you open the door to me for like hey, let's just like bounce things off. I definitely like took advantage of that, which I want. Like I don't
Exactly.
I don't
Rule
ask
number
for
1
help.
is you got to give more, or give at least what you take. And if you do that, people will always teach you stuff.
Say that one more time.
You got to give at least what you take from someone. Which in the YouTube space is pretty easy for me because I can just teach people anything, and then I just hope to learn one thing from them.
So after just grinding year after year, there's probably some blur between when I was 17, 18, 19, somewhere in there. It just started to get a little bit of views. You know what I mean?
So are you're just constantly asking questions
All the time.
Really?
That's the only way you can ever stay on top, is if you're constantly learning. If you're always learning, reinvesting every dollar, and basically working 10, 12 hours a day, like I just don't see a world where someone can compete with you.
I just remember like making videos, and I remember being like, dang, like everyone's telling me like, you're stupid, you know, you're very awkward, like, you know, why would you make it? There's millions of people trying. And I just remember being like, I don't know, I just like it. I'm gonna do this or I'm gonna die trying, kind of thing. 'Cause also I was a big pussy back then.
Well, when I was a young teenager, I was getting no views, had no money, had no equipment. And so for the most part, it was just like, I was just trying to scrounge money so I could buy equipment, because I was using my brother's old laptop. And so like my first couple hundred videos, I didn't have a microphone. Like imagine just like crackly, terrible voice. And so once I got monetized, I saved up for a few months. Like I told you, I bought a microphone. I can just give you a mile high history. And I saved up for like 6 months. I mean, I was just doing video game videos, and they were terrible. But I saved up. I got a real computer. So now I could actually record the video game in high quality. I have a microphone. I'm like 15. And I just kept going and going.
For the last like 8 or 9 years, like every dollar I've made, I just spent it the next month on content. And I just did that every single month, and it just kept getting bigger and bigger. And here we are.
YouTube's trying to serve people the best content possible, right? They don't want to serve you 100 lame videos. They just want to serve you one good one. So it makes sense logically. Like he's always had great thumbnails, but he wasn't the best at making good videos, which is, those are the easiest people to mentor. They can get people to click, but they can't get people to stick around. So then I've obsessed over how to make good videos. So now I just teach them how to make a video good, and then boom, the channel just goes skyrockets.
But how do you have time to mentor people with all the things on your plate?
I find it fun. For me, it's kind of like therapeutic to go on a walk, call someone, and then just roast their channel.
Is that what you do? You roast their channel?
Well, like not meanly, but it's just like, yeah, like
just honestly.
Yeah, I'm like, I can tell you were a little lazy here. Like you could have put a little bit more effort. The hook was a little weak. Like, you know, like
Wow.
why didn't you do this, or the payoff or whatever? The biggest thing is obviously a clickable thumbnail and title, interesting stuff, yada yada. But is it something that people will genuinely want to watch? And this might be a little tangent, but one thing is, a lot of creators think click-through rate is just like the title and thumbnail and did they click it, but a lot of it too is, did they enjoy your last video? You know what I mean? Like, because if someone watches a video of yours and they loved it, you can bet the next time you're recommended, their chance of clicking is a lot higher, you know? So it's like, is it something that can be entertaining for a long time? Is it something that if they watch this next time, you know, they see a video of mine, will they be excited? Like, I loved that last one, so I want to watch the next one. Like those two type of things. And then obviously, you know, is it just interesting and clickable?
Essentially, your title and thumbnail set expectations. And at the very beginning of the video, to minimize drop-off, you want to assure them that those expectations are being met. If you click on a video where, you know, of his, where it's like, Tether is a scam, and then at the very beginning, he starts talking about literally anything else, then you are like, oh, this is bull. This isn't what I clicked on. But if at the very start of the video, you go, Tether is a scam, and I'm going to teach you why, then it's like, okay, you match the expectations. So at the very beginning, match the expectations, and then you want to exceed them. So you want to assure people that what they clicked on is what they're getting, and then blow their mind and be like, but you're also getting even more. That's how you lower drop off, which a lot of people, sometimes it takes them like 20 seconds to really meet the expectations. And so you lose, like, that's where you're going to lose everyone. Everyone's videos start like this, and then it levels off. So you want to reduce the amount of people that click off on the audience retention graph. I hope you're popping up graphs while I'm saying this, so it's easier for people to visualize. But so then once you get it to level off, it's just how do you keep it level until the end of the video? And that's where you want to have, basically want to remove every dull moment. You probably want to find the 10 most critical people you know, make them watch the video and just roast it. You basically pay people to watch the videos on frame and then just have them record it. And I love just seeing like when they pick up their phones and when they get bored and like, you know, certain things, like if I just talk to a camera for 10 seconds without a cut, like a lot of people will just like get bored or they'll lose interest. So like having a B cam and a C cam and just, you can just talk for 10 seconds, but 3 seconds in cutting to a B cam and then a C cam, like now it's more interesting, even though it's essentially the same thing and not that crazy. But you want to have good pacing. Typically having a payoff at the end keeps them, right? Last leave circle wins 10 grand. If there is a low moment halfway through, you're going to watch to the end because you want to see who wins the 10 grand. So having a good payoff at the end.
How many hours do you work in a day?
I would say since I was 11 years old, almost every waking hour of the day, I'm thinking of YouTube in some form or capacity. I feel like it was almost like baked in my DNA. Like it just flows in my blood, the innate urge to create videos and to build a YouTube channel and build businesses. That's just what I do. And if I like try to take time off, I just get depressed and I feel like I lose my sanity.
That was the biggest problem, is I thought it was a freak of nature, because like people would tell me all you do is talk about YouTube, you're too obsessed with YouTube, like get a life. Like from 13 to like 19, I never met anyone who cared about YouTube. I was so untalkative. People thought like there was problems with me because I just wouldn't talk to anyone, because all I would do is talk about YouTube. And after a while, like you realize like no one cares. And then when I was 19 and I had like 10,000 subscribers, maybe it was like 18. And that's when I started meeting a few other YouTubers online. And I realized like, I'm not a freak. I'm just like obsessed with YouTube, and that's okay. You know, you just got to find other people that are like that. If I spend, me and my team spend like 10 times more time than everyone else brainstorming ideas, which we probably at this point spend 100 times more time than everyone else, we spend $500,000 to $1 million a video, whereas normal people are spending like 1,000 or 10,000 is an expensive video now. And we just, you know, sometimes we're filming for 3 or 4 days, like 10 hours a day, you know, 30, 40 hours of filming plus months of setup, whereas most creators probably film for a couple hours and set up for a day. I think for us, you know, by always doing all those things, it just distinctively sets it so far apart that it's basically, in my head, it's like, why would you not watch it? You know what I mean?
But for the average person like us, you know, who don't have these exceptional personalities and, you know, backgrounds in filmmaking, just make 100 videos, improve something each time, and then talk to me on your 101st video.
How do you improve something each time?
The second one, just, I don't know, put more effort into the script. The third one, try to learn a new editing trick. The fourth one, try to figure out a way that you can have better inflections in your voice. The fifth one, try to, you know, study a new thumbnail tip and implement it. The sixth one, try to figure out a new title. There's infinite ways. That's the beauty of content creation online. There's literally infinite ways, from the coloring to the frame rate to the editing to the filming to the production to the jokes to the pacing, to every little thing can be improved, and they can never not be improved. There's literally no such thing as a perfect video.
Oh, and the thing is, like, as long as you're reinvesting everything and you're constantly innovating and adapting, it's pretty hard to fall off if you're like putting in the effort and stuff.
Easy
like
for
that.
you to say, dude. All you do is put in the effort. You're a workhorse. And even when you're not working, like you started taking those like therapeutic late night walks.
Yeah, I call him all the time. I get like 1 out of 10 times he answers. Like, you can elevate your content by being more creative, spending more money, putting in more effort. And there's like all these different things. And so like one of those just has to be going up, not all of them, each video. And if you do it that way and strategic, it's easy to constantly innovate.
You're extremely diversified.
And the type of content, yeah, exactly, because that's the thing. Like,
well, it's not even just in content, bro. Like, you have so many different businesses.
Yes, let's talk about that shit.
Well, let's say you lose money in a video, you're like, well, MrBeast Burgers is popping off this week.
Yes, weirdly enough, the best thing for my mental health was giving into my innate nature to work. And the most depressed I get is when I try to restrict it and like I don't work weekends or I don't work this day. What's best for me is just to work when I feel like working and then just not work when I don't, like, and just have no constraints, because there are just some nights where I don't want to sleep, and for whatever reason I feel compelled to go all night and I just give into it, and I feel that's where I feel the happiest. And then you know, it's typically like, and when I'm really in the grind mode, it'll be like 7 or 8 days, just nonstop going. And then it's like, I'll realize like, oh, I need some recharge time, and then go fucking binge a season of anime.
Again, the thing is, everyone has different priorities. You know, if you want to make a few $100,000 a year and just, you know, coast or whatever, like, you know, not everyone has ambition and stuff like that. But if you really do want to be the best you can possibly be the biggest YouTuber, you should look at hiring as a way to free up your time so you can do more important things, and even then, and hyper optimize every little minute. And anything that isn't work, you should outsource to someone else so you can recharge, so you can work again. You know what I mean?
Up until 18, I had been doing YouTube pretty religiously, but I was making no money. Like, this is kind of the turning point, was when I graduated from high school. And my whole life, I was like, I want to be making enough money by the time I graduated to do this full time. And I wasn't. I was still only making a couple $100 a month. So I graduated high school, and my mom was like, either move out or go to a community college. And I didn't have enough money to move out, but I hated school with a passion. But she forced me to go to community college, and that was the worst thing ever. Like, that made me hate life. Like, borderline suicidal. I just can't stand like having to just sit there and listen to this dumb stuff and listen to some teacher read out a book. So what I did was, I would act like I was going to community college, but I would just work on videos in my car and edit and stuff like that. I had straight zeros. And so now the clock had started, because once my mom found out, I was screwed. Yeah. And so I would act like I was going to college that whole time, but I wasn't. And I didn't have enough money to move out. And that was kind of when I was just like 15 hours a day, all in. I was like, I'm fucked if this doesn't work. And I had some videos pop off. I couldn't tell you which ones, but I had a month where I made 20 grand because I just had some videos just do really, really well. And then I came home and I was like, I haven't been going to college, and I moved out the next day.
If you knew everything you know now, but no money.
Step one I just brainstorm like, okay, I don't have money. What are some viral things? Like, I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind is something as simple as when I counted to 100,000, which is what I did do when I was poor. And like that worked. But like, what's something like that I could do that would be even more attention grabbing?
Yeah, you were, as part of the brainstorm, you would throw out a lot of ideas, and people throw out a bunch of ideas. And one of the questions is this even doable? Right?
Yeah. First off, come up with ideas you think would do well, and then ask yourself later if they're doable.
Yeah.
Because there's different ways you can accomplish something.
Don't be cynical about the doability of stuff.
Yeah, because there really are so many different ways you can.
You have to work on multiple videos at a time, because most of our videos takes months to produce, and I don't just upload 2 or 3 videos a year. So if you're working on like 5 videos at a time, and one of the videos takes up an entire warehouse, and another video takes up an entire warehouse, well, then you can't work on the other 3 because 2 warehouses are full. So then that's what led us to getting this big place, because it's so huge we can work on multiple videos here at the same time. That just for you YouTubers that are wondering, like, how do you get to this point? Like, it's usually a slow snowball.
Actually studied hard enough, and like, basically if you knew what I knew, and some of these, so I don't sound so arrogant, also like some of these other friends I have that I'd say are the smartest people in the world when it comes to content creation online, if you had the knowledge that was in our heads, you could do it very easily. I see people do it all the time. And what's even more interesting is I go on podcasts and I say everything I know. It's all out there. And a lot of people, instead of just studying that and trying to absorb and apply it in their own way, they're just like, no, it's just luck, you know?
Be like 2 or 3 people that would comment on each. And back then, which I think small YouTubers should do, is I would reply to every single comment. And so I think a few people caught on that I would always reply. And so some people would just be like, I wonder how long it'll take for him to reply. And like, so that was a lot of my comments when I was smaller, but at least it kept him coming back.
Apparently, if you make a pee joke, it will drop your retention by around 5%.
No pee jokes, that's just a no-go. No matter how funny it is. I mean, I think it's funny, but it doesn't matter. It's just a no-go. Like, you can't do that. It's just, no.
Do you ever take days off?
So I found giving into my natural instinct works best. So I just work every day, every hour of the day, until I just burn out. Anytime I try to stick to a schedule, it just doesn't work, because there are certain Saturdays I'm just fired up, and like God himself couldn't stop me from going and working on a video. And then there are other Saturdays where I'm burnt out. And so I just kind of give in to my emotions and just work when I want to.
If you hang around people, like just whatever, different people, you're going to feel crazy and it's going to wear on you. Whereas if you're around similar people, it's so much easier. The people they are around 100% dictates the outcome. I would not be on 120 million subscribers if I didn't find when I was around 1 million, I had a couple friends that were just also psychopaths. You know, I outgrew them, but at the time it was great. And I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for them. Just all along the way, the friends that I hung out with had such a dramatic impact on where I am. When I was a teenager, I just, I couldn't relate to many people. And I just thought it was like a fucking freak of nature because no one was obsessed with building businesses or any of this kind of stuff. And so like back then, that advice would have been helpful. Maybe not that particularly, but just knowing that there are, it's not that you're a freak of nature. You just haven't found people that have the same interests.
So the task is not to feel sorry for yourself or somehow change yourself. It's more to find
people you fit in with. Yeah.
Did you mind at all that feeling of like everyone being like, what are you doing?
Well, of course. I mean, it's weird. I think the problem is like, I told this story years ago, it probably would have helped. It's so much more acceptable now. Like everyone wants to be a YouTuber. Everyone wants to be a TikToker. Like growing up now, like, you can just tell by the people and the numbers and explosion of social media that like it's a lot more widely accepted. And also it might also be where I grew up in North Carolina. It's different than LA. But back then, like it really just was a strange thing. You know what I mean? To like want to dedicate your life to being a YouTuber and being that obsessed.
Only less than 10% of the world speaks English. So 90% of the world can't even enjoy your content. And when I realized that, I was like, wait a minute. 90% of the world can't even watch this stuff. I purposely have a really like dumbed down lifestyle. So because it gives you freedom. Like, most people can't reinvest in a business because when they get to this level, they're worried about their $10 million mansion. They're like 4 or 5 cars and insurance and keeping up with that. And then like their second home and all these other things. I just cut it all out. I have no like personal debt or things, that I have to pay for. So I can just go all in on the business because it's like, it doesn't even matter. You know what I mean?
Imagine a world where it's just you working solo and you work 12 hours a day every day for like a year. And you're just grinding, you make a mistake, you learn from it, you grind, you make a mistake, you learn from it, and you do that for like a year. And then imagine a different world where you have 4 friends who are also equally grinding in something similar. Friend number 1 makes a mistake on Friday. He teaches the other 4 people. Friend number 2 makes a mistake the next week, teaches everyone. And then like you're all learning from each other's mistakes. You're all constantly studying 24/7 and downloading each other. Like after a year, you're like 2 years ahead of the guy who was just solo. It really does make a difference, especially like my friend group when I was like, I met a bunch of people when I had 10,000 subscribers and we all we agreed not to drink. We didn't do drugs. Like we didn't date. We didn't do anything. We just literally obsessed from the time we woke up to the time we went to bed. That's literally all we did. It's wild. Like,
what piece of advice do you find yourself repeating over and over to creators and they're just not getting it?
Oh boy. A lot. So here's a fun story. I mentored this one guy just for fun. I started, he was a friend, medium-sized YouTuber. He was doing I think he was doing 20,000. Like 10th a month in revenue, like 10,000 on one channel and like 8,000 a month on another channel. And this month he actually just had his highest revenue month ever. He did $400,000 in revenue. And just by like listening to what I taught him. I know we were able to like 20x his revenue. And that was just like with me just once a week, just telling him he was an idiot and what to do. And I do that for a lot of people. I just counsel people for fun and help them blow up their channels. A lot of times people, oh boy, it's like they think their videos are better than they are, honestly. And
tell them, Jimmy, tell them.
I mean, they do. And you have to that, and they have horrible friend groups because you really are like the type of YouTubers you hang around. And so like a lot of times I'm just like, what you're saying is wrong. Who told you this? They're like, oh, this guy. And it's like, well, they're wrong. It's not true. And so it's getting people with the right YouTuber friend group that aren't pussies and will actually tell them when their content's bad and like actually roast it and help them get better in a nice positive way. And then usually it's hiring an editor, honestly uploading less videos and just making them better. It's much easier to get 5 million views on one video than 50,000 views on 100 videos. It takes way less effort to get 5 million views on one video. So it's like applying a lot of these principles like that, and also getting it where it's content that they enjoy. A lot of people aren't willing to put in 10 hours days because they don't like what they're doing. So it's finding what they enjoy, because it is like a long grind. Like you're doing this for years, not months. So if you don't enjoy it, then you're gonna burn out. And that's usually the first thing, is like figuring out like what are the things you're currently doing that you don't want to do, and like let's figure out a way to get someone else to do it in the next 5 months so you actually get out of bed excited.
Accomplish a goal. There are so many different ways you can achieve what you want. You really got to push through no's, which not a lot of people do. You have to have like a more of a dominant personality and just a willingness to when people tell you it's not possible, just actually go through all the variables and eliminate them all yourself. For what we do and creators online, it's very imperative. Like we take a personality test, and like just having a dominant personality is a better indicator that when someone tells you, oh, there's no way you're going to build a brick wall for under 100 grand, you know, you'll be like, okay, and then still go check the next 10 vendors and, you know, figure it out.
Do you ever feel burnt out? Like, are there times where you feel like
I think
tired?
My definition might be different than others. You know, like some people are like, I'm burnt out. Screw this. I'm done. I'm done. You know, like never at that point. But yeah, like if I'm going like, you know, I go from the time I get up to the time I go to bed like 3 days in a row, I'll be like, okay, like kind of want to like take half a day off and like chill, or like I'll feel it coming and stuff like that. But this is what I'm doing to the day I die. I don't care. Like I love this more than anything. Nothing's ever brought me a fraction of the joy.
I've seen people literally start a channel and within a month hit 100,000 subscribers. I've seen it. I personally know someone who had a channel with 100 subscribers, and me and my boys, you know, other YouTubers that I feel like have a good understanding of how YouTube works, we just help them optimize the video. And I don't like to say the name of the channels because then I feel like I'm taking credit for their success, but literally 100 subscribers, he got 3 million views on a video. And that was with no artificial push. It did like 50 views, you know, 5,000, 10,000, 50,000. It just stair-stepped up every day. And so it's 1,000,000% possible, but it's very hard right off the bat to know what makes a good video, how to hold a viewer, how to get them to click and stuff like that. Some people are naturally entertaining, and retaining a viewer is just much easier for them. And some people, like me, you just need a long time to develop. A lot of it is just like, you can just tell when a video shouldn't go viral. At the beginning of the video, just tell, like literally the simplest thing, just tell them why they should watch it. You know, if you're putting 1,000,000 Orbeez in a pool, don't start the video with you shopping for, you know, your mom's birthday present. At the beginning of the video, just say, we're going to put 1,000,000 Orbeez in this pool. And then that right there should, you know, be at least slightly sufficient.
To help people know what to expect, maybe do a little preview at the front.
Exactly. Yeah. So for most people, it's just that. They're just not hooking viewers, and the video ideas just aren't that entertaining.
Do you think your biggest strength is probably your curiosity? You're down to do anything. And down to do
so
whatever.
I think what you have to do is you have to always be learning, right? That's how you can like, so like with our ideas, right? Because we like to do original ideas that no one's ever done before. And I might have told Jude this when we were talking on the phone. Thing is, like, if there was a hypothetical fruit in Japan that if you eat it, makes it where you can jump 30 feet taller, right? If that exists in this world right now, you didn't know it existed. So you couldn't come up with something around that. It's very hyper specific. But there's like a million things like that in the world that, like, if you don't know about it or you're not intaking the inspiration, you can't really come up with something. Like if I were to try to get into stand-up, like that's how I would try to do something different. I just try to intake a bunch of different information and see what spawns in my head. So I try to always be learning. In point, I'm trying to always expand my knowledge well in my head with new things that I can draw inspiration from.
Yeah, you had a video of ours that you said you were interested in the thumbnail. You clicked on it and you were bored after 5 seconds.
I can tell you, it was the one about the hype house.
Yes.
Why everyone's leaving the hype house.
Yeah.
And I showed them on my phone.
Yeah.
I was like, the title and thumbnail made me tap, and the red bar was like so tiny you could barely see it because I clicked off in 8 seconds. I was like, this is me at my house 4 days ago before you came down. Clearly, you just didn't grab me.
Yeah. And that was really eye-opening for us. And we now, you recognize, like, I think a lot of times you talk about obsessing over the content and really getting into it. And I think sometimes it's hard to understand what that exactly means. And then when you said that, I was like, oh, that's what it means. It literally means that there was a big problem, and you predicted that about 40% of the people left in 10 seconds. It was exactly 40%.
I could tell.
Yeah.
And I told them the remedy for this is they need better friends. 100%. No offense to people that are their friends. I know that they like you, but the fact that no one's like calling you up after you uploading that and just roasting the hell out of it and going like, dude, this isn't the best you could do. Like, and it's not a knock on you guys. It's actually them like, someone should say like, hey, you guys are too smart for this. Like, you're better than this. You can make a video better than this, which is what you should do. You can make anything work, but at the end of the day, it's got to be like interesting to the audience, original, and just good. You know what I mean? And if you hit those, like, you can figure out a good intro and outro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, it's hard because being it's like, it's a weird balance because I would never, I used to save up $1 a day. Like my first microphone, I had to save up for 3 months to buy, and we didn't have any money. It was I had a single mom raising me and my brother and sister. So it's like that relentless obsession of YouTube and reinvesting got us to that point. And so building the team to leverage, like if I didn't know how to go viral, it doesn't matter if I had 1,000 employees. We'd not give you. So I think for me, it was good that I got a really strong foundation on how YouTube works and how the style of videos I wanted and everything before I scaled up a team, if that makes any sense. I just want to make sure that's clear, because I've seen people try to build the team without foundation and knowing how to do well, and then it just
Oh,
creates
that's
a lot of
interesting. Yeah, they try to build it before basically it's ready to be scaled up.
Like, and so that's what gave me the confidence to hire people, and that's why I'm able to run my company at really thin margins, because I have faith, and I know that if we film this video, it will do well, just because I've spent a decade of my life hyper obsessing over YouTube, and I have a good pulse on it. But if you didn't have that, then you wouldn't know. Like, you wouldn't be able to spend $4 million on a Squid Game, because you might lose $2 million, and then you can't pay your people. So it's like,
there's no such thing as a perfect video. Like, someone should always call you and shit on your video, because it could be better. Like, that's because imagine if someone does that every video and you upload hundreds, if not 1,000 videos over the next 10 years, and every single time someone's critiquing you and you're applying what they're critiquing. Like, imagine the compound effect over that time span. It's invaluable. But if you upload 100 videos and very few people are shitting on them, then like you just lost so much compound effect.
One thing that we realized was everyone on your team also is holding you accountable for some of those checklist items.
Yeah.
And that's when we were like, oh, we need our team to hold us accountable.
Yeah,
to
because
these checklist
sometimes I'm
items.
like, no, that doesn't actually matter. Like, that would be an extra 2 hours of work.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, that would help retention.
Yeah.
They're like, who the are you? Wait, you don't want the perfect video? I'm like, you're right. Let's do it.
Here's my question. If we took your brain right now and put it into a guy with no money and no subscribers, so you can't give away money, you can't make $1 million giveaway video, how long would it take you to get to 1 million subscribers?
probably 3 months, maybe 4. From 0, easily 3 or 4 months. Like, if that's all that guy was doing, I mean, like, let me think. I would probably just walk across America. That would get me on the map, and then just do some other, some other $0 extreme challenges. Get some attention. Take that money. I don't know. Maybe make a line of paper clips. I think those are cheap, and stretch it across the state or something. And then I know something, that I'd try to swim from like Europe to Africa. That'd be a cool stunt or something. I've thought about this before. That would pop off. Dude, a thumbnail of me just swimming in the middle of the ocean. Like, I don't want to do it now because they're easier stuff, but I would do it. Like, straight to Gibraltar. It's like 4 miles or something. You could swim
no big
that.
deal.
Yeah, but then you imagine a title. I swam from Europe to Africa. Like, that would pop off. Or I swam across the ocean or something. I mean, yeah, easily. Like, I could figure out a blueprint, and then I would just suffer for 4 months, and then I'd have 1 million subscribers.
So typically, if you're doing a longer video, you should introduce like a side story, and like you should have some plan halfway through, like to re-engage them so they don't just get bored. You know what I mean? Like, if I just said, like, if I hand you a camera and I had a camera, it's like, okay, if he tags me, he gets 100 grand, and then I just run, and that's it. It's just me running through the woods and him just running through the woods after me. You can't make a 15-minute video out of it. You know what I mean? I mean, you could probably paint a bowling ball and people would find it entertaining. Like, there's an audience for everything. You got a good personality, you're passionate, and like, you present it in a way where it's entertaining. Like,
do you have a lot of guys that are trying to copy the format that you've put together?
Yeah, the thing is, it doesn't matter. It doesn't really affect me. I don't like to waste energy worrying about that type of stuff. At the end of the day, it's like, it doesn't hurt me, so go for it.
It actually probably helps you.
Yeah, exactly.
Because everyone gets compared to MrBeast.
Yeah, like a lot of YouTubers get like triggered when other people quote unquote take their ideas or whatever. But
do they though?
They really do. I mean, that's like all the time. Like, someone will do something like, and it's funny. It's usually like people who copy tons of other YouTubers, and they do one thing original, and then some other people take it and they just throw a hissy fit.
Okay, well,
yeah.
I like pushing myself, and I see it as a sport, and like going hard in business and building them, even though it's stressful and it's very difficult. And like sometimes I'm like, you have a mental breakdown. You're like, why am I doing this? Why did I push myself so hard? But then when you're not doing it, you're just depressed. So it's like a weird system, a weird situation, but I love it. But sometimes I don't.
you have, like, as YouTubers, especially people who build side businesses and have side channels, there's like 50 things that need to be done. And if you split your time amongst it, they're all only getting a few percentage of your time. So like, someone should be able to do that job better than you because they're giving it 100% of their time. And that's like the OP part about hiring people.
Where's the source of that learning even for you now?
It's
just look at
I just got back from I just got back from a mastermind where I just got like 10 of the smartest people I knew, and we just locked ourselves in a cabin and taught each other stuff constantly every day. Not every day now, probably every other day. I go on a walk and I just call random people. I'll just say, teach me something. You just have to have a never-ending thirst for learning. Like, that's very imperative, especially if you want to get on top and then stay on top. The only way to do it is just to constantly be learning. Or someone who is learning is just gonna have a leg up on you in the knowledge game. Like my teenage years were spent studying virality and studying content creation. Now I'm studying how to build a content company so I can actually produce the crazy ideas I want to produce, if that makes any sense.
Anything we make off Reacts, I put in the main channel, which is how we kind of got here, because I got to the point where the main channel would make hypothetically a few $1 million, and I'd spend a few $1 million a month. And I was like, well, how can I get more money to burn? And so then we started gaming. And then gaming started making money, and I just take that money and the next month throw it on the main channel. And I was like, oh, this is working well. And then we started React, so now we just take a few $100,000 a month from that, and we just throw it on the main channel. And I'm just like, these things exist just to pump money into the main channel.
What's your biggest insecurity?
Like our videos are very fast paced. And so sometimes you do have to give up a little bit of the story in order to keep the videos moving. Of anything, it would be that. Like a lot of people think the only reason we get views is because I just throw money at it, and they don't realize that, we spent a decade just studying what does well, studying, figuring out our own style, figuring out our own way to do things. And the amount of hours I put into like just expanding the inspiration in my brain just so I can come up with original ideas, and the months on months we spend building the sets and working on it, and the weeks we spend editing and all this. And then, they're just like, oh, he just spent money. That's it. There's nothing special. You know what I mean?
What I found is like, you heard the dictionary story. I work well off of inspiration. And so I found it'd be better just to kind of have people come up with ideas roughly, and then I ingest them. Because, dude, half those ideas aren't good and I wouldn't film. But then when I read them, it inspires me. And I'm like, no, first to finish race wins $100,000. Like, that's too simple. But first person to climb a mountain wins $100,000. It's good. And so I like when people just give me inspiration, and then I just.
What makes one good and the other bad?
I think running a race is like, people have done that. It's like generic. It's whatever. But like first to climb a mountain, and like a thumbnail of someone climbing the side of a mountain, and the thought of someone climbing a mountain is extreme. Like that's adrenaline. It's interesting. Like to me, climbing a mountain is more interesting than running a marathon.
Only watch things that like inspired me, so I would like try to watch a different show or different things or different genres for inspiration. And I had what I would call like an info diet, and I would always like try to add new things. So I was so obsessed with how to, because really like if I tell you to come up with an idea, you're just gonna whatever, you're gonna be like Gatorade or water or whatever.
With all this data, your brain is sort of a tuned algorithm itself of like, evaluating. I think it's so interesting watching you evaluate like titles.
Like what you're saying is like, I like bananas, and what you need is bananas are the best goddamn food on the planet. Like that's the type of opinion you need. Like you need something like how to get 100 million views on YouTube, or not even that. That's not strong enough. You need something that makes people go, what the fuck? And like click. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Dude, I want to click whatever video you're selling me right now, dude. Yes, that video. That's what I want to watch.
Yeah, but that's hyper specific to you. But you see what I'm saying? It needs to be extreme. It needs to like how to go viral. That's not going to cause someone to go, damn, if I don't click that, I'm not going to be able to sleep at night. You need something that legit will have people be like, what the did he say in that video? What the I need to know.
You good at school?
No, horrible.
Really?
God awful.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that was like, I mean, I would act like I was studying, but I was filming videos. My entire high school career never brought my book back home or anything. I would just like throw it under like the bleachers, and then in the morning I'd just grab it.
Your first video was what? You were like 12, right?
Yeah. Oh, actually, I started making when I was 11. I don't know. We'd probably spend like 20, 30 times longer thinking of ideas than other people. We probably film like 10 times more than other people. We probably spend 100 times for a video more than other people. So it's like we put in the effort, but I don't know how to say it where it's not arrogant. I just believe in what we're doing. You know what I mean?
Back then, like how much do you think you believed when you recorded that video that was actually going to happen?
Oh no, I mean those were just different times. I was in the middle of bumfuck nowhere, North Carolina. So it's like everyone, constantly wanted to remind me, you're not going to be a YouTuber. Grow up, be realistic.
If I open a dictionary here and we just, flip to a random page and we pick a word and the word's flowers, right? Then we'll be like, okay, I bought a flower. I gave my girlfriend a flower. I gave my girlfriend 100,000 flowers. I gave my girlfriend 100,000 flowers on Valentine's Day, right? You just go like that. I gave Tariq 100,000 flowers. I put 100,000 flowers in the moon. You do that for a few minutes and then you just flip to a new page and you're like, what's this word? And you just like, that's the slowest form of doing it and the worst way to do it. But that's in taking inspiration, getting inspired and seeing what comes out. And it's really just doing that. And the more effectively you can take in inspiration and see what happens in your brain, the better ideas.
See, that's the effect you want. Most people, when they watch, for the YouTubers watching this, when people watch your video, they go, okay, that was good, but like that's enough of you for the day. Like it was all right, right? Whereas what you want is them to go, holy crap, that was crazy. Oh my God, what's that? Holy crap, that was crazy. Oh my God. And they watch 10 videos, not one, and then need like a week break because it was so that they have to recharge. You know what I mean? That's what you're going for. That data can't describe. And like, I've never heard anyone talk about that, but that is it. That's how you get these high view counts, because people watch 10 videos, not one, you know?
But for me, because we just had this ability to go viral, it's just kind of like, there's a world where I make videos and I don't help people, and there's a world where I make videos and I do help people. The one where I do help people is just a little bit more fun, so that's why I do it. PR wise, I should have a better answer, but that's kind of the truth.
What was the first movie that you saw where you're like, oh my God, I was blown away? For me, it was Jurassic Park. As a kid.
I only watched YouTube growing up. I've seen
that's it.
Movies. I know when we have a really good video.
Exactly.
Like I know it's really good, and that the title and the thumbnail.
If you upload a video and you're not like you're not like, this is a banger, this is gonna bang, no doubt in my mind, even though you're gonna be wrong 90% of the time, then it's not a good enough video.
You still have to have that feeling, even if
you should have spent more time thinking.
Let the audience tell you you're wrong. Don't put it out when you already know you're wrong.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not because they know who I am. It's just because the videos are good. They just are. They're interesting. They have good retention. They have good pacing. You can't find them anywhere else. And you know, the thing I want to leave people with is people think it's like, oh well, it's all like CTR and stuff like that. But a big thing that everyone underestimates is it's what was your experience with your last video? If people loved the last video of yours that they watched, they're more likely to watch your next one.
One thing is like, I'm obsessed with learning, and so it was very important I found someone that also likes learning. So she loves reading books, she loves like experiencing things. So like, I don't see like taking like an art class as a waste of time, because that might creatively inspire me, or like a pottery class, or even going and shooting guns or whatever, some new thing. So usually it's like us doing something like that where in my head I'm learning something and I can kind of justify the time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To my like business obsessed brain self. So it's that, and it's also good to unwind, and you know, so you can actually go to bed at a reasonable time and not just lay there working in your head. Hey, you should subscribe right now. That, you know, a lot of people who wouldn't have done it because they just didn't think of it are now thinking about it, and it will convert to like 10 or 20,000. So literally just say it and you're good.
And that's all I do.
What was
I wake up and I do that thing.
What was that first YouTube video that you saw that like kind of filled you with that wonder, where you're like, wow?
Oh, well, this guy actually got hacked like a very long time ago. This like Call of Duty YouTuber, and they like leaked his earnings, and he had made like $100,000 a year the last few years. And I remember being like 10 and be like, what the fuck? They make they make money doing this, and I was just so mind blown that they actually made money.
Wow. They make more than my mom. Like,
yeah, and it was right there when I was like, okay, I'm doing this. Like, I just don't care. I'm being a YouTuber, or I'm gonna fucking die trying. I just don't care. And that, like, the second I saw that was actually possible, that's when I was like, that's it. And it's funny also talking about like obsession and stuff like this, because it's funny how it changes, right? When you're like, and maybe it's different now because social media is a little bit cooler, but when I was younger, like no one wanted to be a YouTuber. Like most people when I was 13, 14 didn't even have phones yet. Like it was kind of like a little bit of an older thing. And maybe it's just because where I grew up, but it's funny because back then people are like, get a life, stop being a fucking nerd. Like you're too obsessive, you're a weirdo. And then now it's like, oh, bro, he was so obsessive. It's so great. Like,
right, it's seen as a positive quality. Yeah.
And it's so funny, like looking back on our life, going from a fucking loser nerd who's too obsessive and won't go anywhere to like, damn, that's really inspiring. And it's like, damn.
My team pushes back on me pretty hardcore. Oh, they do. Which I want. I don't want yes men. And they're like, they're James, you know, the CEO who helped me build all this. He's very adamant, like we're not yes men, and he trains people to really think for themselves. And even when I give them orders to like really think, like, is this optimal? Is there context or information Jimmy could be missing that I could provide that could help him make a more updated decision? Like I'm not God, you know what I mean? Like I'm human and I make errors, and so don't take what I say as the Bible.
You just really boil it down to the people who are watching. Just think about it. Like what do you think YouTube wants? Like to me, I think YouTube just wants people to click on a video and watch it, right? I mean, that's how they get their ad revenue. That's how they keep viewers happy and stuff like that. I mean, I'm sure comments like stuff like that. But at the end of the day, they want you to click, watch a video, click, watch a video, and just do that as long as possible. So to me, what's important is click-through rate, getting people to click on your video, and then average view duration, average view percentage, or just relative retention, and having them watch it. If people are clicking your video more than they click other videos, and they're watching it longer than they watch other videos, as simplistic as that is, that's like what YouTube wants, and I think that's how you just, you know, be successful.
Oh, so wait a minute. We spend the first 18 years of our life trying to fit in. That's how I felt in school. I was trying to fit in all the time. What do people do that's cool? How do I do that thing?
Right.
And then once I was like in the adult world, it's like, oh shit, now we spend our whole life trying to stand out. Like, well, what was all that other shit? Why was I so focused on fitting in if the rest of your life you're trying to stand out? And I just realized, like, oh shit, standing out has been the game the whole time. And the way you stand out is not by trying to figure it out. Just like whatever you're obsessed with, just let that ride, because you'll go on a path that nobody else is going to copy, and then you'll land in a good spot. So if my kid, like my daughter's 2 right now,
right,
if she was into gaming or if she was trying to be a creator, all that stuff, I would be all in on it, because I know even if that's not your end game, following your obsession is like the thing to do in life. You know, that will always work out. But, you know, if you like actually go down that path, what most people do is they hedge. They like this thing, but then they see this path that's more proven or shiny, or they don't know if it's going to work, so they only half try, right? And then it's like that hedge is actually what gets you. It's not that this career path was that hard. It's that hedging.
Imagine spending 10 years of your life only thinking about one thing every waking hour of the day.
You mentioned earlier that people were like, you don't have a life. Yeah. Right. But we've been here. We spent all day with you yesterday. Behind the scenes, I feel like you do have a life. Like your life is YouTube.
The thing is, like, you're an idiot until you're successful. Then you're smart, whatever. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's just, at some point you cross that tipping point and people go from judging you and being like, you're too obsessed, you're a freak, blah, 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 to like, oh, like, whoa, congrats. Look at you. You hire people and provide jobs. Like, you're cool. Good job. You know what I mean? And it's really like kind of blurry where that line changes.
For me, and it might not always show, trust me, and I know I might sound like I'm coming across as a know-it-all. I swear, I'm still learning stuff every day. When filming, though, I like to try to just put it, like, I feel like a lot of creators have a mindset of like, how can I get the most views with the least amount of time? And I'm not saying that's wrong, you know, because obviously I have that mindset sometimes too, but I try to, when filming, put in as much work, even if it's like a 15-second part of a video, even if that one little part will take like 10 hours, you know. Wow. But like hypothetically, right? But that 15 seconds is like, wow, like that's great. Like I feel like viewers genuinely notice when you go the extra mile, trying to make sure we're doing everything we can, no matter how expensive it is, no matter how much time it takes, to make the best video possible so they have the best experience, and so they want to, you know, obviously watch more videos because that's what you want the viewers to do. And then with editing, just no dull moments, you know, have a good hook at the beginning. Some minor tips I could give is like, you know, if I do a video like Last Leap Circle wins 10 grand, obviously people are going to watch to the end because they want to see who won the money. So you could apply that to your videos. If somehow you could have a payoff at the end, then, you know, more people are going to watch to the end just to see what happened.
With him, what's admirable is like 90% of creators, like if they had that #1 spot in that long, they would have been such egotistical pricks. They like would have changed, and you know, he never wears designer clothes or flexes on people or looks down on people. You know, a lot of his friends or the people he has in his videos aren't like super clouded out. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing that I would take away with him. Like, it's really respectable that like he really didn't change much, you know?
Our goals with the algorithm are to try to find videos each viewer is gonna, you know, engage with. This is kind of recognizing the fact that yes, we optimize and try to, you know, have watch time as one of the key metrics we look at. Yeah. But we also know that not all watch time is equally valuable to the person watching. You know, you can spend, you know, 15 minutes watching something and then feel like, meh, I just kind of wasted my time. I should have, you know, gone to bed earlier or did something else. Yeah. Or maybe it was like really inspiring and changes your life somehow. And we want to be able to capture that difference. I'd encourage creators to think about what's going to be satisfying, not just take the most time.
Obviously, everything starts with an idea. And for me, I like to make my videos a little longer. So that's a big part of what ideas we do. I just don't see why it won't work.
Absolutely,
you know?
Absolutely.
And so, like, what's interesting too is like before I even promoted it, we were doing pretty good sales because a lot of people, when they open up Uber Eats or Grubhub, they're like, oh, it's that guy from YouTube. Yeah. And they try it out. So it's a lot of like sales from that where it's just basically like free promo. And it's like, so like having a virtual restaurant's like having a billboard in these delivery apps. And so my main channel is 60% American and like whatever, the UK is like 10-15%, but on my Espanol channel it's 1% American. It's literally a whole new audience.
No way.
Yeah. And so these are people like, I'm literally #1 trending in Mexico with videos that I uploaded 2 years ago.
Oh boy, that's definitely changed over the years. I mean, I watch a ton of anime. I love anime. It's like, it's so creative and different, and I feel like that inspires me. So number one's anime, and then number two is like, I just try to watch a bunch of different stuff, so I'm just always learning, because you know, you can never learn enough. And like, there could be just one simple thing you learn through watching like an educational video that just like changes how you think and like allows you to just make better decisions for the rest of your life.
Cut out all dull moments, try not to over-explain things. If a camera just sits on me and I'm just talking for 20 seconds, it doesn't hold retention as well as, you know, maybe me talking and other footage popping up. There's things like that. If you just, you know, there's literally in your analytics, and most of you probably know this, audience retention. You can see where people click off. Just literally go through your last 50 videos, write down where everyone clicked off, and then just don't do those things again.
Do you see yourself getting out of the space anytime soon?
Never. I think YouTube's gonna grow even bigger. Like,
of course.
Yeah, I mean, like, look at it, like 85% of the phones in the world run on Android, which has YouTube pre-installed, and Google obviously funnels people into YouTube. So I think in 10 years, YouTube's gonna be ginormous, and I just want to be the biggest YouTuber in the world in 10 years.
I think YouTube's gonna get bigger and bigger and bigger. It comes installed on every Android device, which is like 85% of all operating systems, and 90% of searches in the West are on Google, which YouTube pops up on. I think, you know, like I've told you guys multiple times, gaming viewership in the last 2 years has doubled. Like, you can throw up the tweet, the reports, like that's factual. In the last 2 years, and 2 years ago, gaming was freaking huge, and it's doubled. Yeah. I think YouTube in 10 years is gonna be bigger than we all imagine. I have no freaking doubt in my mind.
When you say study YouTube, is taking a YouTube video, whether it's yours or another really popular video, right? We were talking about Vox yesterday, because that's the closest thing to what we're trying to do, right? Is Vox. And so I think one strategy is to take that video and actually take a notepad out and just write what's happening in the video.
Exactly.
Literally write down, like, the first 30 seconds, what is happening? And that's what I did with your FBI video, because I was like, okay, let me just understand, what was Jimmy talking about? What's happening in this video? And then when you write it down, you're like, wait a second, 40 seconds has gone by. This many scene changes have happened.
How many was it? Like a dozen?
It was at over 12.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it was over 12 scene changes. There was introduction of new information at each maybe, 6 seconds. And you had added in a twist by 40 seconds where the telephone pole
and the
falls.
entire time there's tension of him chasing me. Yep.
Exactly.
A lot of people don't have that desire to learn and then apply the information that has been learned.
Which is fine. I mean, like, some people do YouTube for fun. Some people do it just to pay off their mortgage of the house. Like, everyone has different goals. But if you really want to be the best in the goddamn world, it's like Michael Jordan says, you're not trying to get 1% better. You're trying to get 10,000% better. And if you do that every day, like, it adds up.
We don't want to play the game. We want to change the way the game is played.
We want to dominate in a way, as in a non-arrogant way.
I like to end a series or a challenge on a high note. Like, you can just kind of tell when people are getting a little tired of it, or, you know, I just gave away $1 million, let's take hand off of it. So now if I do last to do blank wins 10 grand, it's just not really the same effect. But I'm still gonna maybe occasionally do it. But it's just like, to keep things fresh. Just, again, it's hard because so many of them are different. Like, if they're a Fortnite creator, you know, I'm not trying to tell them to switch games every month, because then that might kill their career. But for me, I just like to, you know, don't milk a series too hard. You know what I mean? Keep it fresh and always try to introduce things here and there. And then if it works well, take it and run with it for a little bit, then introduce something else new. Because if I
as few as possible, that's the only question you should ask me. Subscribers don't matter, views don't matter. I mean, they do, but all that comes, everything you want as a creator comes from making the best videos possible and thumbnails. But it's easier to, you know, make thumbnails. The video part's the hard part, and that's the thing that you're known for. No one's known for no one's like the biggest YouTuber in the world because they have the best thumbnails, right? It's also because they have great, phenomenal content. You know what I mean? Like that's the hard part that very few people do well, and that's what people remember. You know what I mean? Like, you're not gonna have some random dude when you're walking down the street of Paris go like, yo, that's the guy with the great thumbnails. You know, they're gonna be like, no, that's the guy with the phenomenal videos that, whatever, you know, held his breath for 40 minutes underwater or things like that. So that's a tip for you guys, but also you guys watching. Ask, how can I make my videos better? Do that every single day for years, and then you'll probably get views.
At the end of the day, like, the idea is a big part of the video, you know, not even just from clicking it, but whether or not people watch it. You know, if you're spending 24 hours in a corner, that's just not as entertaining as spending 24 hours in a jail cell. And at the end of the day, like, the only difference there is the idea. It's not the content. It's like, it's what you formulated beforehand. So yeah, like, I like to spend an hour a day. You know, it's dwindled recently. We have a lot of ideas, but if you spend an hour a day thinking of ideas, it's pretty hard to not expect your channel to do better. You know, unless you're just not executing them properly. But
the only downside is a lot of people copy my every move, and like I've spent 5 years building how we do everything, and like I've spent tens of millions of dollars fucking up so I can learn from it, and like hiring and how we do things. Any YouTuber I ever collab with, they always leave and they're like, oh, everything makes a million times more sense now. Like I know what I should do.
How do you keep from burning out?
Like if there's something that like I genuinely just don't want to get out of bed and do, that's a problem. And at the end of the day, it's just keeping it enjoyable. So I have Chris and Chandler. If you've seen my videos, they're really fun to be around. So like, you know, spending 24 hours in a desert by myself would be miserable. But spending 24 hours with my boys and just hanging out and stuff like that makes it so much more fun. So for me, dude, this might not apply to like 90% of you, but for me, creating an environment that's fun, that I get excited for, and then, you know, outsourcing things that just make me not want to get out of bed, I don't know a different way to phrase it, that's what has helped, you know, long term make me stay motivated. So 2 years ago is when I brought Chris on and finally got a little bit of help. But for like the first 6-7 years, it was all me.
I would act like I was going to college, and then I would like just sit in my car in the college campus and just work on videos or edit or just work on a script or something. And then I'd come home and I'd be like, hey, Mom, college is great. And then I'd keep working. And
that can't last for that long.
Yeah. No, and thankfully, I don't remember what happened. I remember sitting in like on the stairs in front of one of the college classrooms. I was like talking to James, one of the people you met, and I was like, yo, I don't know what the fuck's going on, but like I've just been grinding every hour of the day, and I just pay like 20 grand a month. I was like, I'm ready to like tell Mom that I'm failing every class and move out tomorrow. And he's like, okay. And I picture that because it's like 11 p.m. and I'm just pacing, and then I'm like, yeah, Mom, I have zeros and everything. I haven't been going. And I was like, I'll move out tomorrow. And then I moved out the next day, and she was so mad. But I was starting to finally make money, and so I could afford to move out.
If we are getting a little deep, it was pretty hard, like, because like all throughout high school, people would tell me I was too obsessed and told me like you shouldn't spend so much time on this. My mom and I fought constantly because like I just wanted to make videos instead of doing schoolwork. And when I dropped out of college, she kicked me out. You know, my mom's like really sweet and she cares about me, but she's like, go to college or leave. And I was like, I guess I have to leave. So it was a lot of ups and downs, and every part of the way to me, because I just knew that this is what I wanted to do. I couldn't see a life where I wasn't a YouTuber. It was either I'm a YouTuber and happy, or I'm sad. Those are like the only two outcomes. So I just kept making videos and persevering. And a big thing is I tried to connect with other YouTubers, because a lot of what I know and what I've gone over, I wouldn't know without other YouTubers. So I would constantly spam like a dozen YouTubers a day. And like the first few people that I finally got in contact with, I learned so much off of, and they helped me understand how to make an entertaining video and stuff like that.
Even at the end of the day, like attention is so just powerful, you know what I mean? And like in a way, obviously,
attention is powerful.
Exactly.
That's the thesis. 100%.
And so
100%.
if you can like really like, you know, just get big and just maintain it for a decade, like
I honestly just want to keep making better and better and better videos, and that doesn't always mean money, and that's something I'm coming to terms with, especially after doing $1 million giveaway. There are, you know, time, effort, creativity, there are other ways to make a better video. So I just want to keep making better videos, do yearly fundraiser things, and I love YouTube. I want to be doing this for the next 10 years. This is all I want to do. I don't want to do anything else in my life. I think it's like 90% of the searches in the West or whatever go through Google, and Google obviously owns YouTube, so obviously a lot of that will go to YouTube. And so I think, you know, YouTube's only gonna get bigger and bigger. It's a great place to be honest. I don't think there's that many more lucrative companies really out there than being a YouTuber, just to be frank.
Yeah, if you're a YouTuber and you need someone who can like actually like do a lot of the high level things, just pay someone to follow you around for 2 years and study everything you do. And after that, they'll be pretty good at like doing stuff for you.
He learned and adapted to the ways that is that technical, nuanced digital thinking.
Yeah.
And he's able to make decisions for you, and you know they're going to be right.
Exactly.
He's able to be you behind the camera.
There's so much input. Like you kids, like every decision we make is like based on the thumbnail and title and content, and like even things like knowing into factor that like greater lighting at the beginning has higher retention. If a video's a little bit darker, it's lower, and like, you know, like re-engagements and stuff. Like there's like thousands of inputs, and like someone who you just train up isn't going to get them all. But if someone follows you around, they like learn these 1,000 little things over the course of a year. So then like their like percentage of right decisions are so much more in line with yours, because they like, it's literally just like, it's not like I have to like motivate myself, or it's like this, it's just what I do. I just wake up
and it just consumes me, and I just can't stop. And I've never been able to stop. And if I stop, I get depressed.
What's the most satisfying part of the process for you? Is it a successful video? Is it the feedback from the audience? Is it being the best?
It's really everything.
Okay.
Like it's like I can't pin it to one thing. It's like being able to provide for my family, being able to employ my friends, being able to do crazy cool stuff, having freedom, the fame, the money, everything. Like,
all of it.
Everything that like I like all points towards just being a better goddamn YouTuber, and like it just makes everything that I want better. I've literally been hiring and building systems for like the last 4 to 5 years now to like perfect how to like make a viral video. Like we have it down to a science.
Yeah.
Now I know what to do, and it's easy to replicate it. But figuring it out took forever.
Absolutely. What are you most excited about?
Most excited about?
Yeah, right now.
I just YouTube. It's never
Really?
I mean, it's like weird because everyone always tells me eventually you'll get burnt out, but it's just YouTube. That's what gets me up in the morning, and that's what I live for.
And it always has.
Always has. It hasn't changed.
Even when you were just saying the same thing over and over.
Yeah, exactly. And
Hours.
since I was 13, I've been obsessed, and it just won't go away.
Bro, this is what. Okay, so I've said this. Like when you were doing those videos, definitely I was like, yo, this guy's this guy's
a fucking idiot.
No, I was like this guy's interesting. Like, but I'm mad at myself for not knowing that any person that was willing to put themselves through that type of mental distress could literally do whatever they wanted and is probably gonna like make it and figure it out.
Yeah.